questions keep looming since park rangers at Lake Mead found human remains inside a barrel. The case has captured the interest across many in the valley and the country.
So how did it happen? And could there be more discoveries just like this? Fox 5's Drew Andre digs into the mystery in this Fox 5 special report.
Over 100 miles long and at its depths more than 1,000 feet deep, Lake Mead leaves decades of secrets below its surface.
Legit corpse in the barrel, just washed up.
And one of the most disturbing earlier this month.
You hear stories, but you never, you don't expect to see that on a day at the lake.
It was a Sunday afternoon not far from the launch ramp here at Hemingway Harbor. As the lake levels drop, a decaying barrel emerged out of the water. Inside it, human remains. One witness described to us still seeing the pants and a shirt on the person's body with a belt around their waist. But it's a discovery that never seemed possible before.
Had the water level not receded so far, we never make the discovery of this victim.
40 years ago, where this barrel sits was roughly 100 feet underwater and several hundred yards from shore. And investigators say they know exactly how the crime was committed.
Someone had to have a boat and someone had to, put someone in the barrel and push them off the boat.
The Clark County coroner determined the man died by gunshot wound, and his shoes lead detectives to believe the murder took place in the late 70s or early 80s. And that is where the mystery begins.
It was a time where the mob was on the front page almost every day. I think it has the signature of a mob hit.
Las Vegas Mob Museum historian Jeff Schumacher says stuffing a murder victim's body in a barrel was a common tactic in the mob across the country. And there are even reminders of that inside the museum, including maybe the most famous case, the death of a mobster, Johnny Roselli.
In 1976, he went missing. Later, he was found. A barrel was bobbing in the bay outside of Miami, and his body was inside it.
Metro Lieutenant Ray Spencer told me his team will investigate whether the murder could have ties to organized crime if they're able to extract DNA from the remains.
If you notice, I'm saying if, because it will be a very challenging part of this investigation.
Right now, the bones are in the hands of the Clark County Coroner's Office.
Anytime you have remains that have been exposed to the elements, it makes it incredibly challenging to get an ID.
But a lab in Texas that specializes in advanced testing using genealogical data believes they have the resources to help.
I think we're extremely suited, and I think that we have proven before that we can work with such remains and be able to get an identification.
We've introduced you to Othram Labs before. With the funding of local philanthropist Justin Wu and his new nonprofit, the Vegas Justice League, Othram has helped Metro solve several cold cases, including Stephanie Isaacson's 1989 murder, which Othram says sets the world record for the smallest amount of perpetrator DNA recovered to make a match, just 0.12 nanograms.
That's the equivalent of about 15 human cells. If I touch my hand, I've left hundreds of cells, so that should tell you how little bit of DNA that was, and we were able to make a positive ID.
Kristen Middleman says they've solved multiple cases with remains found in bodies of water decades earlier.
With the lowering lake levels, police believe that more bodies will be found. And less than 2 weeks after the body in the barrel discovery, north of Hemingway Harbor over at Colville Bay, another set of human remains was found. But police have determined there was no foul play involved in that death.
It's also possible that this isn't a mob case and that this person just kind of sort of a copycat on the mob motif, right? There are stories about serial killers who buried people in barrels. Barrels seem to figure very prominently in all kinds of different murders.
Authorities believe it will take months to potentially make an ID on the remains found in the barrel. But it's already sparked a new awareness for future discoveries. At Lake Mead, I'm Drew Andre, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.